At this point, you have the wallet exterior top stitch and sewn with the lining tucked under, and you have a completed cash pocket with your slip pockets and everything also top stitched. What you do at this point is you take your wallet exterior, figure out which way's up. Okay, that's my up. Then you're going to take one side of your cash pocket and place it face down on top of your wallet exterior, lining up at the corner. So the bottom of your cash pocket lines up with the bottom of the wallet exterior, all along one of the short edges. And then you're going to sew this edge at 1/4 inch. Make sure you backstitch. This is one of those things where, again, we're going to manipulate it, and if we don't backstitch, it will come out. So, right at 1/4 inch. And this encloses the side seams of the cash pocket. Again, make sure I backstitch. Pull that loose. Trim off my threads. And then you notice I have all this extra space over here. What you do is you pull this side over, and again, lining up along the bottom. And you can use a clip to hold it in place if you want. And then again, sew it at 1/4 inch. Backstitch, come up, trim off my threads, and then you do what I call the crazy inverting move, and you flip it inside out, and suddenly your wallet exterior is on the back and the cash pocket's on the front. You're going to manipulate the edges until it curls up and over. And this will enclose all of those seams. At the top, you might have to twist that a little bit to make sure that everything tucks in nicely. But it creates more of that faux binding like we did with the slip pocket. So you don't have to have multiple seams here that you'll have to sew through. The thickest parts on this wallet are going to be your bottom corners, especially if you are using a heavier first slot. Okay. And then, once you get one side lined up, I go ahead and do a clip. Starting at the edge, you can either, this is top stitching, so depending on what your sewing machine does, whether if it has a nice understitch that you know of, you can go ahead and top stitch down, and that's fine. Depends on what you know about your machine and how you've got your tension set. If you know it's going to be a pretty stitch, or if you know it's not going to be a necessarily pretty stitch, decide which side you want the not quite pretty stitch to be on. If you're going to sew from the inside, at this point, I actually start right at the bottom of the slip pocket. And you are top stitching, so I'll change my stitch length. You will want to back stitch here. This is your final stitching. I'm just going to do one slow stitch a couple times for security, And then go ahead and go forward. And I am punching through some fairly thick waxed canvas, and like I said, that corner is your thickest spot. And then you're going to go up, and you want to go ahead and do 1/8 of an inch from the inside edge here, not from the outside edge. If you're doing it from the outside, I actually recommend you do it at like 1/4 of an inch. And this catches that, and again backstitch to finish off that edge. And we'll go ahead and cut this. You can see on the back, not my straightest stitching, but on the inside you'll notice that that's been caught, and so we don't have any seam showing. And then, so that's one side, and you still have to do the other side, but you've got all this extra stuff, so you're going to again wrap it around, making sure that your seams are covered, and this time I'm going to. If it helps, you can use glue to hold things in place. And I'll move that. And you actually want a little bit of excess material on the back half showing. This helps for when you wrap it around. It makes it wrap around neater and lines everything up. So just kind of line it all up. I am going to use clips this time. I try to start when I'm sewing these seams on an inside edge and go up. That way my last one automatically feeds any excess material into the center. So I don't have to try and start here where the excess material is already waiting for me. But then you'll just sew this up, and then your wallet will be complete. So let's finish this. Again, giving it a couple one-stitch back stitch. And again, I'm going to hand stitch down to that last bottom corner because, as I said, that is your thickest corner. You know the machine that you're using. You know whether, and no matter what machine you use, you can reach your maximum. But this pattern is designed so that a domestic machine can use it on a fabric pattern, or even a minimal pattern that uses leather or vinyl as well. So you're not limited to just a fabric wallet with a domestic machine using this pattern. Remove my clip. Backstitch. Do one more time just because I can. Make sure it's all nice and secure. Clip my threads. And there we have it. We completed Dudley Bifold all fabric using faux binding and fabric T-slots to minimize the seams. Enjoy!